There are so many possible outcomes with this new HOH that this week may be a tough one to predict. There are shots being fired from all sides of the house, but as usual, nothing will really be solidified until after the veto. There is a lot to talk about today, including a lot of drama from last week, but first, if you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button below just so you can stay tuned, as I will be here doing these lovely recaps all season long. Now, let's get started. So, like we saw in the last episode, Mimi was just voted out unanimously. This was a little shocking because for most of the week, Felicia was looking like the main target. But throughout the week, things had just flip-flopped around so many times, as they usually do in this house. Like, there was that one point in the week where Cameron was adamant about backdooring Cory, but he didn't end up following through with it because he just did not have the support that he needed from his allies.
Obviously, you would have thought about this. If you do that, potentially no one's going to trust you.
Outside of the four of us, he's the strongest player.
Yeah.
He's the only one that I would worry about winning HOH in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Not America. Not even necessarily the Blue. Damn sure not Cirie and Felicia.
Yeah.
This led to the back door being called off, and by the end of the week, as we saw, the nominations remained the same, with Mimi and Felicia still on the block. At first, it was really looking like Felicia was for sure going home, especially after that argument we saw with Cory and America.
I've watched you this whole game. He's thrown me and Mimi under the bus this week, saying that we approached him about a Final Four. No, we didn't. We did not approach him about a Final Four.
But as crazy as it sounds, that argument may have actually helped out her game just a little bit. You see, everybody had already thought that Felicia had a big mouth and that she was untrustworthy to begin with. So her distancing herself from the house even further with these little debates is actually helping to lower her threat level more. Felicia is also not really looked at as a competition threat, whereas Mimi is seen as the overall better competitor.
Especially with Mimi kind of proving herself to be like,
right.
She's a hell of a competitor.
Bro, I thought the exact same. Because even I walked out of there being like, I think Mimi got it. Like, I literally thought, like, Mimi probably is going to beat me out of feeling. And granted, she's on the block that she has that extra oomph. But I was like, oh, I think Mimi beat me. And, like, actually seeing the scores and confirming it.
So all these factors combined together are gonna lead the house to start flipping. At first, of course, not everyone was on board. It took a while for some people, mainly Cameron, to get used to this idea, but eventually everyone is able to jump on board and the flip is on.
Cam took some convincing, but I think he's down ultimately. Hard to fully know with him ever, but I feel pretty good. Then we kind of all were talking, Matt was there, Blue was there, Jag, Cam, Bowie, you were there, I was there.
I was there.
And basically, like, everyone seemed pretty on board.
Mimi is a very reserved player. She's very analytical, she's a big thinker, but the problem is she's just not very social in general. I'm pretty sure she's an only child, and you can tell she values her alone time, which, same girl, trust me, I feel you 100% on that. But these traits generally aren't valuable in the Big Brother house. Mimi really isn't able to say much to flip the house back in her favor to keep herself safe. And as we saw, Mimi is unfortunately evicted unanimously, and the game continues on. Now, with only 9 people left in the game, we have finally made it to the jury. As we saw on the show, the Houseguests go off to compete in the live HOH competition, where we see that the biggest underdog in the game, Bowie Jane, has just won HOH. It all came down to her and Felicia at the end, and honestly, I was kinda hoping Felicia would win here just so she could enter her revenge era. But overall, I was finally just excited to have another lady win a damn competition. I mean, the inequity in the comps this season has just been abysmal so far. I believe the stat is something like 85 to 90% of the competitions so far this season have all been won by men. So, with Bowie now in the driver's seat, a lot of people were unsure about what she'd do with the power. It seemed like everyone had their own ideas and agendas on who should be the target, but most people are going to push her to target either Cory or Cameron, which, spoiler alert, neither one of them are a huge threat to Bowie's game. It should come as no surprise that a lot of people want Cameron out this week, mainly Cory in America.
I think my goal for these noms is Blue and Cam. The next two that need to go are them two, right? I don't care the order. Really, I prefer Cam because he's just more dangerous. He can win more competitions.
Hell, even Matt and Jag want Cameron out low-key, and he had their backs last week. Together, they somehow, someway want to try to convince Bowie to target Cameron.
For me, I always prefer the back door if it comes to Cam. Because if there's a chance he doesn't play, that is always a better chance because we fucking know that it's ODEV out there. And Cam being out there in ODEV is a really strong shot.
Yeah, as thrilling as this move would be, it would also be pretty stupid for Bowie's game. I don't think Cameron would ever actually target Bowie. In fact, he actually wants to bring her all the way to the end and sit next to her in the final two. Cameron's also been a pretty good confidant to Bowie over the past 2 weeks, and it seems like nobody really realizes just how close these two are.
We have to talk to Bowie because it sounds like Bowie might not be down to backdoor Cam.
We have to. What, really?
Yeah.
Why?
She was just saying how it's like dirty and she would feel bad.
Dirty, I know.
And like how Cam's not going after her.
Cory thinks he has Bowie wrapped around his finger. So he's feeling super comfortable this week because he has no idea how many people really want him out. I mean, people like Cirie, Blue, Felicia, and Cameron all want Cory gone this week. And right now, Cory is slowly but steadily becoming public enemy number 1 in that house.
Matt's pretty on board. I'm on board. Jag's a little quiet, but I can rely on him to be on board too, especially because he knows where everyone else in the house is. So,
What about Cameron?
Cameron, I can never be too sure, but I think he could be on board too.
However, Bowie personally feels close to Cory, so she doesn't necessarily want him out right now either. So everyone in the house just has all these opinions on what Bowie should do with her HOH, and they are all trying to pull her to their side all at once. But what does Bowie actually want to do for her own game? Well, it seems like Bowie is the only person in that house that wants to target Cirie right now. Which, look, the Cirie stan inside me hates this idea, okay? But the super fan inside me is low-key like, finally! Cirie has been the strongest social player in that house since day one, and nobody else even holds a candle to her social game. Like, the fact that she's barely been a target this whole time absolutely astounds me. Bowie wants Cirie and Felicia on that block together, and of course Cameron is backing her up on this.
Be in your best interest to just go Cirie Felicia?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because if
that already would put me up anyway, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, and if you do anything different, it'll throw up alarm bells on everyone, that who you're working with and how. Together, they discuss using these two ladies as the initial noms, but we all know that Cameron would secretly love to backdoor a big threat like Cory. What we can do is, after veto, because one of us is typically going to win veto.
Yeah.
After veto, if you want to make a decision, you want to like take a big swing or do something crazy or go at somebody,
then we can
do it.
But again, Bowie doesn't really want to backdoor anybody here. She's not really interested in making any big flashy moves, and it actually seems like she's trying to avoid conflict at all costs. That's gonna be impossible though, since nobody else really wants to target Cirie and Felicia that badly right now. The feeds eventually go down for the nomination ceremony, and when they return, we see that Cirie and Felicia are indeed on that block together. I'm not going to lose any hope for them though, because the way this house is set up, damn near everybody wants that veto to be used except for Bowie. Half the house wants Cameron backdoored, which I doubt would ever happen. And the other half of the house wants Cory backdoored, which isn't likely, but that one's not impossible. Especially since she's gonna have Cameron in her ear about this one all week long.
If I had my way this fucking week, dude goes 4-on-4. So if he leaves, we're all in better shape. Because it's all of us against Cirie and Felicia again.
Yeah.
With enough peer pressure from the house, I could see a scenario where Bowie does decide to target Cory this week, but we'll just have to see. So that is pretty much where everything in the house stands as Bowie continues her HOH reign. If she had it her way, the noms would probably stay the same this week, but of course it's all going to come down to who wins that veto. Of course, I want to know, what do you all think of Bowie's HOH reign so far? And who do you think she should target for her game? Let me know in the comments below. Even though it may not be in Bowie's best interest, I'm personally hoping that some sort of backdoor gets pulled off this week. Just anything that prevents this week from becoming stale, that's what I'm into. Of course, I'll be back here to update you all if anything else big happens in the game, but until next time, bye.